I always say, like, people always hit me up and say, like, bro, when are you gonna get me on the pod? You never asked me to be on the pod. And I'm like, okay, I'll get you on the pod this week. And they're like, bro, thank you. I've always wanted to be on the pod. And then as soon as I send the link, they don't open
join it.
And then they're like, oh, bro, I missed the link. Bro, if you want to be on my pod, I
just come on.
Send the link to everyone who asked to be on the show. I don't discriminate. I always want to hear what people got to say. But if you beg to be on the pod and you don't show up, tough.
That's terrible. And I mean, if you're busy, that's an exception. If you got to work or if you got to take care of your personal life or something like that, that's okay. But because my situation is,
like, bro, I overslept, I missed it, like, nah,
or like if you're oversleeping,
phone, like, bro,
who sleeps at 12? It's like 12 in the afternoon. I don't know who sleeps past 12, who wakes up at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I make it let me get this screenshot. And I made it 12:30 too. I made it 12:32, even not even 12. I would rather go on live on 12. But I didn't, just to give people extra time, but they don't show up. Let me post this. Wait, what are they saying? Now they're saying Draymond. Oh, my God. Oh, so some people were predicting LeBron at Dallas like earlier in the like in like March.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Let me post this out real quick.
Yeah, because that's the story you're going to hear from me, because I want to hear from, because we haven't seen you on that show for a while. I know I've been busy. I'm probably going to say I'm back. Just been covering a lot of the NBA finals and also off-season stuff. That's what I've been doing. Off-season days where it's kind of, we're talking about teams that got eliminated and talking about their financial stuff. For example, we talked about the coaching situations that have happened. The Bucks got a new coach. Adrian Griffin is now the Bucks' new head coach, and Terry Stotts, who's the former Blazers. Yeah, Adrian Griffin is now the coach from Toronto.
When was that announced?
That was announced in Game 5 of the Heat and Celtics series.
Oh, I missed
before
that.
game.
Wow.
Yeah, and then from that point, we have Terry Stotts. And if people don't remember Terry Stotts, he coached for Portland. No, he's the assistant, and he's going to be the assistant with Griffin.
Oh, in Milwaukee. Okay.
Yeah, and people know Terry from his time in Portland.
Again, I didn't think he should, but good.
Yeah, because in Portland, they said, wait, did he get fired? No, his contract was up, and they parted ways. So we know that's considered you're fired.
He wasn't really that good. He made some lapses. But let me get the intro done. Welcome,
and he was in Dallas.
Welcome, everyone, to the 41st episode of the Some Casual Takes podcast, hosted by me, Stephen Pepper, featuring other sports fans debating interesting topics with the most casual takes. This episode is brought to you by no one. We're back with Chris. It's been a minute, Chris. Ready to talk some basketball, bro. I seen LeBron in Dallas. I seen the NBA Finals. I was like, let me get Chris in here. It's been a minute. So Chris already kind of told us before I started my intro how he's been. But, bro, how you been, bro? It's been a minute. We're back.
It's been crazy for me. I haven't been here for a while because I've been busy covering a lot of other big NBA stories that have been happening since the Lakers lost. But I'm back. I'm happy to be back for this episode, and it's going to be a special episode because we got a lot to talk about, and especially going into Game 3. We're tied up 1-1, and it's going to be an interesting Game 3 on Wednesday.
Now, yesterday was a really good day for me. I saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Have you seen that movie yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it's really good.
See it after the show. It's an amazing movie.
I've seen them. I listened to the soundtrack and the Metro Boomin, that one song on there, man, called Inhale or whatever it's called. It's really good from the Spider-Verse.
It's arguably the best movie of the year. It's insane.
Yeah.
I love the Spider-Verse. There's going to be a trilogy because the next movie's coming out soon. It's insane.
Yeah, and of course, Indiana Jones coming out too.
In the theater. I can't wait for the next one. Everyone should see this movie, Across the Spider-Verse. It was amazing. It was fun. It was great storytelling. Animation was perfect. So if you haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse, do that. And as soon as I left the theater, I had to book it home because the NBA Finals started as soon as I left the theater. The Finals started at 8, not 8:30. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe I should.
Yeah, because I was actually at just like, when I got done with something, I'm just like literally on my like I'm on a tablet or something, and I'm looking at the schedule thing because I usually have like the NBA app and I got the TV apps on my phone and on my tablet. So I look and I see, oh, it's the NBA countdown. It's on ESPN, and I switch from ESPN to the ESPN app. And then I see the countdown crew, and like, okay, we should go from ESPN to ABC. And then we look at it and we say, Game 2 is going on right now. It's like, this is the earliest.
Like, I think the game, like, I thought all these games were supposed to start at 8:30. Apparently, it started at 8 because I showed up to my house.
It was Sunday.
Miami's it was Sunday. Like 11 to 6. I'm like, oh wow, I missed like the opening game, but I watched the rest of the game though, so you're gonna still get this great breakdown. But before we get to the NBA Finals, there might be a bigger headline than the NBA Finals. What stole the momentum today was supposed to be all about Game 2 of the NBA Finals. I didn't break down. My last podcast was the preview of the finals. I didn't give you guys my opinions on Game 1. That's because I felt like a show wasn't needed because I gave that to my people on TikTok. Yo, if I don't have a podcast following a game, I will give you guys my breakdown just on TikTok Live. So that's why you guys got to follow my TikTok, because if you ain't following my TikTok but you follow the pod, you're missing out, because I will give you my opinions on TikTok Live. Not every time I feel like I would need a podcast. Some days I'm like, I'll just do a TikTok Live instead of a pod, because I feel like I don't need to do a podcast for just one game unless I get so many people on. I just rather do a TikTok Live, and it's more efficient.
Yeah. And then plus, now that it's summer, summertime, another thing is, now that it's summer, kids are able to watch the live streams, because during the school days, kids are not able to get on their phones. But now that it's summertime, they're able to watch the full show. So I remember telling everybody, we have a show. There's a show today. Yes, there's going to be a show, which I didn't send the link out. But for everybody who has seen me on TikTok or seen his TikTok, you got to follow it. Same thing with the daily shows we're doing. School's out. If you got nothing to do, if you are sitting at home bored, check out the stream and check out what we're talking about today.
So I'm driving home from the gym, because I went to the gym before the stream. Driving home from the gym, I get vibrations on my phone. I'm like, yo, why are people are blowing me up? Pause. And I'm like, what is this? Like, it's like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Why are people hitting me up in the morning? Like, shouldn't you be eating your cereal? Like, why are you texting me? And I opened the first text, and my boy's like, yo, what do you think about LeBron in Dallas? I'm like, okay, like, why would LeBron ever go to Dallas? My other group chat, yo, LeBron in Dallas, what do you think? I'm like, why is everyone just talking about LeBron in Dallas? Like, that's weird. All of a sudden, I see a screenshot. I go on Twitter, and it's Shams saying, sources say Kyrie's trying to get LeBron to come to Dallas. I'm like, whoa. So there goes LeBron again, taking the attention on him. So LeBron James has another narrative to stay, as the old heads will say. Today was all supposed to be about the Game 2 of the finals, but LeBron James is the headline. Like and
the Dallas Mavericks. I got Chris Haynes. Chris Haynes from ESPN.
So it's legit. All the top reporters, every outlet is talking about it. Now, we don't know who the sources are. I don't know how they found out about it, but according to some sources, Kyrie Irving's trying to get LeBron James to come to Dallas. Kyrie Irving a couple of days ago was seen in LA getting picked up by Phil Handy, the Lakers staff guy. Wonder if Phil Handy was talking to him. Maybe Kyrie.
Yeah, I know Coach Phil. I know Phil Handy. I remember seeing him from the Lakers, and great friend of mine. But for Phil Handy, this is crazy. If Kyrie,
Jay Kidd, the Mavericks head coach, won a championship as the Lakers assistant. So there's some Lakers
and Jared Dudley. Let's not forget, it's a Laker family, because you have Jason Kidd, you got Jared Dudley over there. Let's not forget, they have JaVale McGee, who also was on that championship.
If he's still under contract.
And they also have Markieff Morris in that team as well, who's on the Lakers. So and of course, you got Mark Cuban, who's not really that close to LeBron James. And then you look at Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk is not a player, but we know that Dallas beat the Heat in the finals. So this is going to be a different dynamic. And Tyson Chandler is also on that Maverick staff too. He played with the Lakers as well.
Yeah, he
so
beat
it's
LeBron
a big
in that finals.
But he played for LA. At the end of his career, he played for Lakers.
Before I give my real opinion, dude, LeBron going to Dallas would be absolutely insane, given the fact that Dallas embarrassed him in the NBA Finals. That would be absolutely insane if LeBron James wins a championship for Dallas after Dallas took a championship from him. Now, 12, it would be, after next season, it would be like 12, 13 years ago. Now that's hilarious. Dallas has to be outside. That's like almost as bad as LeBron going to Golden State.
That's kind of crazy.
My real opinion about this. Let me get my real take, and I'm going to go off to you. So sources say that Kyrie Irving's recruiting LeBron James to be a Dallas Maverick. And my initial opinion is no, this would not work. A big three of Luka, Kyrie, and LeBron would not work at all. First of all, this team would have zero defense. They had one of the worst defenses last year. You add LeBron James in year 21 to this unit, you're getting worse defensively. Who's getting a stop on this unit? No one's getting a stop on this unit. And then offensively, how is time of possession? How is the usage rate going to get split up? How on offense? How is that going to work? Ball dominant Luka Doncic struggled to work with Kyrie Irving. Now you add LeBron James to the mix, a more of a ball dominant player. So that's means LeBron James is going to have the ball less. So you're going to ask LeBron James at 39 years old, off his worst shooting year in forever, you're going to ask him to be this elite ball dominant player like it's 2009. No, you're going to ask LeBron James to be this elite off ball player like it's 2009. Like so what they're going to do with LeBron in this offense? Shove him in the corner like he's PJ Tucker? You're going to make LeBron a corner shooter? You're going to turn LeBron in like Draymond with like how he uses the basketball? How are you going to use LeBron? Is Luka
this Mavericks team?
You're not going to ask Luka to play off ball. All of a sudden, Luka's going to change his game for LeBron? Name value-wise, this might be the best team in the league. But it's bigger than that. We know that just because you have names on a piece of paper doesn't necessarily it's going to produce you a championship. You need defense. You need team chemistry. The ball needs to move. You need to be able to get a stop. I don't think this trio works. Hopefully LeBron does not go to Dallas.
Yeah, because I agree, because this Mavericks team has had overall problems this year. And looking at the Dallas Mavericks overall, and we can know that Kyrie Irving and LeBron are we know the history between LeBron and Kyrie. Originally, it was in Cleveland, it was LeBron by himself. Went to Miami. Kyrie enters the league. They have a conversation because back in 2014, what nobody knew was when the All-Star game happened in New Orleans, there was a moment where all three of the guys, Kevin Love, Kyrie, and LeBron, were having a conversation. And when they had the All-Star game ceremony and Kyrie's got the trophy, LeBron says, hold the trophy up. Hold it. And then Kyrie was asked the question, do you want to be a teammate of LeBron's? What, for today? Like, yeah, for today. No, I want to be his teammate for in the future or something. So then we knew that they were going to be together. But then in 2017, things didn't work out. They went their separate ways. But I don't think that Kyrie should go to Dallas. I think the narrative should be flipped the opposite way. Bring Irving to the Lakers, not the Mavericks, because Luka can go by himself. My friends, like, you have a plan of trying to get Kyrie to LA? My plan is simple. Plan A, get rid of all the dead weight, not Reeves. I think Austin Reeves can stay and Rui can stay, but all the other guys have got to go. And my friends, like, well, on the Laker list, who did you circle and who did you put on an X? My X's, Troy Brown, you got to go. Lonnie Walker, you can stay. Tristan Thompson, you can stay too. Jared Vanderbilt, I'm going to keep you as well. D'Lo,
we'll see
I hate
later.
to say this to you.
Well,
bye.
Yeah, hate to break it to you. And I'm assuming you're going to talk about Malik Beasley gone. I heard the report that said Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba won't come back for the Lakers next year.
And I think they're going to probably believe, but
the Lakers don't plan to be. I'm good with that.
But with Dallas, if they do make if they want to get LeBron, they have to make a trade. I mean, they can't just get him like straight up.
Same thing with the opposite too. If the Lakers want Kyrie, they're going to have to do a signing trade.
Which I wouldn't want to trade away Austin Reeves. I would keep Reeves because it's just like the Alex Caruso thing.
It'll be like a D'Angelo Russell, a little something extra, and then for Kyrie if they want to get.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Trade D'Lo to Dallas, and then throw Mo Bamba in
Max
there, or
Grizzly,
then we got that kid, Cole Swindler, the rookie. He didn't
yeah,
get
you
that
probably
many
have to
minutes,
throw in
so
like Malik Beasley because D'Lo for Kyrie straight up's not going to work.
yeah, I've been throwing Scottie Pippen. I mean, when we got the Anthony Davis deal, when we had the AD trade, my friend's like, well, we can't just get rid of AD for virtually nothing. I know we can't do that, but who's in the deal? Because originally, when they had the trade for AD, a lot of people were saying, who's going to get traded? Like, for who? Like, well, they're going to trade Anthony Davis, but for who? Who's going to they trade for? They're going to trade AD along with a bunch of other assets. Like, well, they gave me the list, and they said on the asset list, I was like, Kuzma's staying. I put a circle around him saying Kyle can stay, but Lonzo, Brandon, and Josh go to New Orleans. Like, but that's not enough.
It was a bunch of first round picks and a couple pick swaps.
And then but that's not enough in the trade. Who else? Like, well, from Washington, we're gonna throw in Mo Wagner and a bunch of other players on the deal too. Like, so they're gonna go to Washington to trade.
They did the Isaac Bonga, Mo Wagner. They did that trade. They did that trade before the Anthony Davis trade to free up the money. Because remember, they had some cap issues. They did that to free up the money.
And then, of course, once that trade happens, then we talked about free agency. So same thing. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of things on the table if the Lakers get Dallas. So, I mean, the Lakers want Kyrie.
I've always seen when you got like a big three in the NBA history, I mean, as a LeBron fan, I've seen a couple big threes. That third player, who I assume will be LeBron, I assume that third player would be LeBron. You're going to ask LeBron James to almost not a role player, but the role LeBron would have in Dallas would be so less. And I guess year 21, LeBron would prefer to have a lesser role, but it's not that he would prefer to have a lesser role. It would be how effective would LeBron be in a lesser role? Because I don't think he's as great as an off-ball player as he used to be, especially as a shooter. In today's NBA, a lot of off-ball players, LeBron just can't. I mean, is LeBron as fast as a cutter as he used to be? Probably not. Now I'm saying LeBron can't cut to the basketball, but he's not as good as an off-ball player like he is in 2009. In today's NBA, off-ball players, catch and shoot. In a Luka offense, dribble penetration, you're going to dribble penetrate to LeBron James when he's coming off his worst shooting year in the basketball history? I mean, in his career? I don't know if that works. I really don't like how it works. Now, some people would argue that Luka Doncic would still be ball dominant when we take a lesser role. I don't see that because I don't think Luka Doncic is that good off the ball. I don't think he is. So, and defensively, it's a horrible unit. And they would have all that money locked up on LeBron, Kyrie, and Luka, and that's it. And then they'll have no depth.
Yeah, because for Dallas.
So how would they – so they have zero depth and no defense and a bunch of players who I don't think will work together. They have no chemistry, no depth, no defense. That's not a recipe for the playoffs because for the playoffs, you need the chemistry. You need depth. You need defense. We're seeing it in Miami. Chemistry, depth. Dudes coming in Dallas in the fourth quarter, knocking down shots and defense.
Yeah.
They don't have that. They wouldn't have that in Dallas.
With the Mavericks, I'm forgetting something. So looking at the NBA free agency list, because I got the list for many fans, I know that people don't really care about NBA free agency or who's a free agent next summer. Well, there's a list on ESPN, which I might tell them about, but it's on ESPN. It's called the NBA free agents team by team list for 2023 to 24. It's on ESPN. The Dallas Maverick free agents. Here are the 8 free agents for Dallas for this year. You got Kyrie Irving, Markieff Morris, Dwight Powell, Frank Ntilikina, Christian Wood, Theo Pinson, Justin Holiday, and Mikael Wright III. Next year's free agents, Reggie Bullock, Davis Bertans, Josh Green, JaVale McGee, and AJ Lawson. So for Dallas, if you want to get LeBron James, you're going to lose Theo Pinson. You're going to lose Dwight Powell. You're also going to lose Christian Wood and Justin Holiday.
It would have to. I'm guessing the Kyrie to the LeBron to Dallas thing. I'm guessing that would be this year when LeBron's not a free agent. So that would be a trade. I'm guessing LeBron to Dallas would have to be a trade. I heard a report last summer that Dallas was forming a package. They didn't send one. But, when the Lakers were terrible, they missed the playoffs, Dallas was working on a package to get LeBron to Dallas to play with Luka.
After the Mavericks let go of Jalen Brunson, because let's not forget, when Brunson left, the Mavericks went for other players. For instance, they made the trade for Christian Wood, which I thought was not a good idea because Dallas got rid of a bunch of players for the deal. And then for the Laker free agents, what we didn't mention for free agents for the Lakers are Lonnie Walker, Malik Beasley, Troy Brown Jr., Dennis Schroeder. I would want to keep Dennis. I don't want to trade away Dennis.
I want him to be my either starting point guard, depending on what the Lakers roster will look. I'd want Dennis. I like how defensively he likes to attack players on the perimeter. I like Dennis. It depends. Dennis is probably like a mid-level exception type of guy. I don't see him making a lot of money on the market.
And then you have Wenyen Gabriel, who got some minutes and was an extra energy off the bench.
He's gone.
Yeah, I would want to get rid of him. And then you have Scottie Pippen Jr. and kids like Scottie, it's Scottie Pippen's kid. He didn't play that much. And then next year you got for free agent for the Lakers, you got Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jared Vanderbilt, Max Christie, Mo Bamba, and then Cole Swilder, whatever his last name is. He's free agent next summer. Yeah. So I don't think that he's going to be straight. I mean, if they do make a deal, I would either trade away Wenyen Gabriel in a deal along with Troy Brown Jr. and D'Lo, and of course Beasley. But I would keep the only people I'll keep will be Lonnie Walker, Dennis Schroeder, Reeves, and Rui, because Rui was a big energy off the bench this year, and Washington made the dumbest decision to get rid of Rui Hachimura
for Kendrick Nunn. And a couple seconds to close this out about the LeBron thing. I just don't think it will work. No defense, no real chemistry. I mean, LeBron and Kyrie have some chemistry, but you're throwing in Luka in the mix. Where's this ball going to get divided up? I literally just made a TikTok last week saying LeBron James should be point guard to finish out his career, and now he's going to team up with Luka. No. But even if it doesn't work, I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be too mad if he did go to Dallas because it's just a change of air. At this point, LeBron's accomplished a lot. As a Lakers fan, I think it'd be funny to see it for a season because it is Luka Doncic. He's one of my favorite players, and he goes teams back with Kyrie. But that's it. We've talked for too long. We got to talk about the NBA Finals. The narrative that should have dominated today before Kyrie decided to, ask LeBron to come to Dallas. The real narrative today should have been the NBA Finals. And I got my Jimmy Butler shirt on because we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I got the Miami Heat jersey in here. I got the old LeBron jersey, the old Heat towel and stuff for White Hot Man. I got the old Heat jersey right here, the old LeBron Heat jersey, and I got the old Miami Heat towel in this room too. So this was a very interesting series because a lot of people picked over the years when the NBA Finals happens, people pick the best team to be the champions. Overall, this NBA Finals is completely different from over the years. We have a team that has a championship. The Heat have won championships before, and Denver has not won a championship. You're looking at a bunch of players like you got on that Heat bench. You have Kevin Love, who's an NBA champion. You got Kyle Lowry, who's an NBA champion as well. And then you got a bunch of other players who've been in the final before but have not won it.
An NBA champion.
Yeah, and then Eric Spoelstra.
He's been to a final in the bubble. Spoelstra, the championship head coach.
Pat Riley, the GM, he's been a champion as well. And then looking at Denver, the only guy who has been to a final or has won a championship is KCP. None of these other guys.
To a final in 2018 with the Cavs.
Yeah, but they didn't win but they got swept. But the point is, I think that this series is going to be interesting because last night it was 108 to 111, and when I was watching that game, it was back and forth from start to finish, and there was a lot of big plays. I think the big play that really knocked me off my feet was the Jamal Murray dunk, where Max Strus is running after Jamal Murray, and Murray just dunked. My mom was like, "That's got to be a foul."
One dunks last night. There was a lot.
Murray was out of his mind.
One too when Michael Porter Jr. tried to block his shot, and he dunked one. It's funny how you brought up KCP being a champion because he did not look like a champion last night. He had so many just like really dumb fouls. How many 3-pointers did KCP foul? Like
he fouled.
He fouled Strus. He was fouling Kyle Lowry. He was just jumping at everyone's landing zone.
Yeah, really my dad was like talking about that, saying he fouled him. Why is it like his feet are up? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a foul right there. It's a foul on Lowry. No, you can't.
Because if KCP doesn't do those fouls, Denver probably wins this game.
And then last night,
boneheaded fouls, Denver probably wins this game. I want to start off by saying, though, I want to apologize to the NBA, to Adam Silver, to the Nuggets and the Heat. I said that this series was probably going to be one of the worst NBA finals ever.
It's been entertaining.
Because I thought the Nuggets were just going to completely mop the floor with Miami in like 5 games. I didn't think this was going to be entertaining at all. I still don't think this is a great NBA finals just off of the lack of superstars plus –
and then also this year,
the presentation by ESPN has been absolutely horrible. It doesn't look like an NBA Finals on the court or on the telecast. It doesn't look like a final.
The introductions aren't exciting either. I mean, the thing they don't do is
the crowd too doesn't feel like a finals crowd. They're not, because back in the day, like the crowd would wear the same shirt. It would look like a finals crowd. It didn't really. It looked like a regular.
And they don't play they have the songs. Like when they open up with the NBA Finals, they're gonna play something that's hype. Like they talk. And then they don't because back in 2017 when Kendrick Lamar was doing his album with Be Humble,
and they had everything, bro. Like
and when they introduce it, they don't like talk about they don't like have the serious talk, and then they don't show like the highlights of the physical play. They don't do that, and then that hypes everybody up. And then they don't show like the actual introductions, like when they have the arena after the national anthem. They don't go into the arena introductions because that hypes everybody up during the NBA Finals. Because
they don't do that.
Yeah, because in Cleveland, they did that for the Cavaliers. In 2016, they did that, and then they stopped doing it after 2018. And I tell everybody else, I don't know why they don't do that. They just, as on the commercial, that's like, they should just, after the introductions, they say, game 2, the game 3 is next. And then they go into the NBA opener thing, but they should just have the commercials until after the introductions. But
just add so much more hype to the game. But I guess.
But we got to get into stats too. We got to talk about the stats.
I'm sorry for down in the finals, but I'm going to go over what I saw from this game. So in the first quarter, like I said, I missed like the first 2 minutes of the game because I didn't think it started at 8. I thought it started at 8:30, but I still watched the game. So Miami in the first quarter, they came out and they went big. Coach Spoelstra, showing that he's the best coach in the NBA, makes a timely adjustment like he does game by game. He went big. Now, my TikTok Live, I said before game 1, I kind of wish Spoelstra did in game 1. They probably would have had a different game there, but at least he did in game 2. I said in my game 1 prediction, they should go big. Kevin Love should start. I didn't really buy into the Kevin Love was hurt thing. I didn't really buy into it. I just think they said that just because Caleb.
And I was so great about that
because they just wanted an excuse to put Caleb Martin to start against Boston. But now the Denver's a bigger team. I mean, there's the small forward 6'10". Kevin Love's in. They get bigger, which worked. Because you remember when they went smaller in game 1, off the game,
it killed them.
Aaron Gordon scoring like 10 points in like the first quarter because he was.
And that's one thing about Kevin Love. That's the big testament.
Switches and getting Vincent on it, but now Kevin Love's sticking him. Aaron Gordon was not found to start that game. Let me see how many points Aaron Gordon had. Aaron Gordon only had 12 points, but it wasn't as impactful as he did in game 1. And Miami came out very intense, just like Miami Heat loves to do. They came out intense, and they got to a quick double-digit lead early, which was helped by not only going big. Max Strus had a complete opposite game in game 1. He went 0 for 10 in game 1.
Yeah.
It was completely embarrassing. If you ever played basketball, to the people out here who have ever played basketball, man, if you're a shooter, man, and you're shooting all those shots and not a single one is going in, especially on that high-pressure stage in like a tournament, bro, that's the worst feeling in the world, bro.
Because you're struggling.
Knowing that your shot is not falling, your confidence should go out like that. But Strus, maybe that's just Strus's DNA, or someone in the locker room was giving him confidence. Max Strus came out and did not hesitate at all. He smacked like his first, I think he was 4 for 7 to open up the ball game.
I forgot to mention to you about the Heat.
End of the game, he knocked down 4 first quarter threes, so that was the first quarter. But Nikola Jokic kept it close. But what do you got to say? What I got to say after you got something to say.
Well, for Miami, of course, they added Kevin Love in the lineup, and they took Caleb Martin out. Martin was feeling sick. But we got to go with the stats for the Heat because we have a bunch of numbers. I got the NBA. Another thing is, even though we don't have sponsors, but if you watch the NBA Finals, or if you have been watching throughout the NBA season, a little thing that I got right here. I wish we had like a little thing where it could pop up, but the NBA app. It's basically called the NBA app. It has one app with all 30 teams. I've been using this app all season long. So here are the stats from last night's Heat and Nuggets game from game 2. Game 2, the scores: Jimmy Butler with 21, Kevin Love with 6 points, Bam Adebayo with 21 as well, Max Strus with 14, And then the story of the NBA playoffs for the Miami Heat. Gabe Vincent with 23 off the bench. Kyle Lowry had 9. Caleb Martin had 3. Cody Zeller had 4. Duncan Robinson, who has been inconsistent with that big contract, had 10 points. A couple of other players who kind of pitched in. Hughes Heisman only had 0 points. Haslam, Jokovic, and Jurcevic did not play. A little thing to know about the Miami Heat fans. I knew yesterday when I was at a grad party talking about if Tyler Hero is going to play. People have been bombarding me with that.
We'll get to Tyler Hero later
because I want to talk about that and how the severity of it. But then for Denver, we got to go to Denver stats. Denver stats for their bench. I mean, for the starters. For the Denver Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. only had 5 points. Aaron Gordon had 12 points. Jamal Murray had 18. I thought he had more than 18. KCP had 16. And then he missed the game winner, of course. And then now the second running MVP, who didn't get MVP, the Joker, Nikola Jokic, 41 points, but it still wasn't enough. Denver's bench. This is one thing that their team uses, their bench. Bruce Brown, 11. Jeff Green, 9 points. Christian, whatever it is, like Brown, whatever his name is.
We're going to get into Christian Brown.
Yeah, 6 points. 6 points. And then their bench. Here are the other guys who did not play. Thomas Bryant, Conchar, Reggie Jackson, DeAndre Jordan, Najee, Smith, and Watson.
Those are a bunch
it's so sad to see those 2 guys who played for the Clippers, Reggie Jackson, who was really good, and DeAndre Jordan, and Thomas Bryant, who was on the Lakers, not getting minutes at all in the playoffs.
Those guys are unplayable.
And it's so weird. I mean, they're unplayable, but I don't think that they're going to get minutes at all unless it's garbage time. Like if it's in the finals and they're
unplayable, they don't fit with what they're doing. They're just on the end.
Their bench is not going to be helping them.
They don't really like to go that deep in the bench. They've been doing it all season. But back to
they should. They should. At some point, Malone needs to put in the bench.
The first quarter was a lot closer towards the end because Nikola Jokic was a beast. I mean, which was completely opposite of game 1 because in game 1, I don't think Nikola Jokic took more than like 3 or 4 shots in that first quarter. And now in game 2, he had 11 points in the first quarter. I mean, I don't know if you saw Chris, but the man is just hitting every shot around the rim. Other than like Steph Curry, you can maybe say this dude, Nikola Jokic might have the best touch in the league. It's so soft. His shot is so soft that every floater, every runner, every hook shot, every layup that he shoots gets a nice favorable bounce, and it goes in every time. I saw some shots that he was just shooting up in traffic, and then it would just
he gets the ball and just goes like this. He just goes like this, the ball, and then he's like
is going in. He has some of the best touch. It's so soft, and it rolls around the rim so nice that it goes in. He might have the best touch in the league, and it just amazes me watching him play. And as a LeBron fan who's obviously rooting for the Lakers to go to the finals, and I hated the Nuggets during that series, I'm just glad I'm watching the Nuggets. I don't have anybody to really root for necessarily, although I love Jimmy Butler and want him to win a championship. I'm watching this as a neutral fan. I'm in awe of what I'm seeing from Nikola Jokic now that he's not playing the Lakers. And then going on in the second quarter, like I said, Jokic made it close. And this is where the Heat struggled too. Is now it's early in the game when they went to their bench, it completely shifted the momentum of the game. Their starters came out intense, started hitting threes, and they took the lead. But as soon as their bench went in, the Heat unraveled, and the bench unit from the Nuggets took advantage. They went on this huge run. I think, what was it, like 20-6, 21-6, 16-3, a huge run led by quality minutes from their bench unit. Christian Braun, who we highlighted, he only had 6 points, but it was very impactful 6 points. He had a couple tough buckets, nice passes to it that led to buckets. He set up some nice shots, and he also got steals, and he was scrappy on the defensive end. He had a nice save. He was all over the court in that second quarter, and I think this was without Nikola Jokic on the floor. It was great minutes from their bench. They had a lot of opportunities. Defense turned into offense. Miami was really starting to turn the ball over in that second quarter, and that offense of Denver couldn't miss. They had a stretch where KCP, Jeff Green, dudes were just knocking down every single three during that run. And it just
and they were not hitting any shots.
PTSD from the Lakers series and just throughout the playoffs for the Nuggets. Man, there's sometimes when they go on these runs, the Nuggets, they cannot miss a three. Like every three they shot during that run, I was like, yeah, that's going in. And it went in. They've had so many stretches where they go absolutely ballistic from three. And then they go at halftime. I think they're up 6 at halftime.
11 of 28 from three. That's how for Denver it was 11 of 28 from three, and Miami was 17 of 35 from comparison.
Yeah,
and then
decent from three. Miami shot really well.
In game one, it was 93 to 104, and I can pull up like the recent thing because I got the app right here. But between the Heat and the Nuggets in game one, it was
both teams.
Bam with 26. Bam with 26 points, and then Jokovic had 27, and then Murray had 26. KCP had 7, and then looking at the Heat, it was Gabe Vincent with 19. Butler only had 13, but still.
From three, they didn't really shoot that particularly well.
But Denver.
It was close at halftime. Then the third quarter,
Miami killed them.
Eric Spoelstra knew that their bench unit sold. Eric Spoelstra knew that their bench unit in the second quarter sold. So you saw what he did. He played the starters for a lot longer to open up that second half. But as soon as that bench went in, Jokic took advantage. Now Jokic is going against the Heat's bench unit, and Heat bench unit again turned the ball over. And Jokic had 18 points in the third quarter. Like I said, best touch in the league. The man made everything around the basket. He was bodying Cody Zeller. Man, Cody Zeller should not be playing, man. Cody Zeller should not be playing.
I agree, too.
Jokic is not only taking his lunch, he's taking his lunch money for the next 3 years. He is taking that boy's lunch.
Zeller is a huge mystery because everybody knows when it comes to Cody Zeller, people said, wait a second. Doesn't he have a brother? Yes, Tyler Zeller, the Zeller family, because we watched him play in Cleveland. But people ask me, wait, Cody played for what team before? It was Charlotte. Then after Charlotte, he was with the Portland Trailblazers. Portland waived him. He was with Utah to start the season. And then when the Miami Heat had injury problems and they were short on depth at center, they added him, and he was already in great shape. And he said, it's good to be in Miami. It's great to be down here. And I mean,
Jokic is absolutely destroying that man. It was sad.
But the bench,
Zeller out here turning the ball over.
I think the Miami Heat should look towards their bench because looking at, even though Zeller's getting minutes, I got to look at that roster because
they don't have another. That's the problem, though, Chris. They don't have another center.
I think they do. They have another big man on the team. They have another backup big.
He's less capable than Cody Zeller, and that's why they're not playing him. Trust me, if they had another center who could play, they would play him, but they don't have one who can go in who's better than Cody Zeller. They can put another center on the end of the bench, but he's even worse than Zeller, and it's not
not Orlando Robinson. They have that guy, and then
he's not on the roster tonight.
And Omar Yurcevic, that guy from Georgetown.
Those guys are even worse than Cody Zeller. It would even be even more of a nightmare. That's why they're on the bench. Coach Spoelstra would have solid. But in the fourth quarter,
he hasn't played that many minutes because he had an ankle injury.
He's not that good. And then the fourth
I wish Oladipo was playing. That would have been better. If Victor didn't get hurt in that Milwaukee series.
But he's not guarding Nikola Jokic. We're talking about
good point.
In the fourth quarter, Miami's bench actually stepped up. So early
Lowry, Kyle Lowry,
absolutely cooked, turned the ball over, relinquishing the lead. They're down 15 to Denver. All of a sudden, this bench, led by Kyle Lowry, the thickest man in NBA history, and then
Duncan
Booty Shorts,
the money
Kyle
man,
Lowry, and Duncan Robinson,
the man who signed for 5 years, 5-year contract. Duncan Robinson, who hasn't played.
Robinson, I think, earned his contract last night.
Yeah, because let me just tell, for people that have watched, and for not many people that have not seen Duncan play, a little story you should know. Robinson last year played in one playoff game against the Hawks, and then after that, he was yanked out of the rotation.
Duncan Robinson was literally unplayable. He couldn't play defense, and not only could he not play defense, he's not hitting his shots. He's a shooter.
And he had a finger, and also this season, he had a broken finger, and he was out of the rotation all this year. But then when the Heat lost Tyler Hero,
I think he's gotten better because I think his defense now it's not crazy, but I think it's improved, and I think his shooting's back to where it was in the bubble. And not only
he's got more confidence.
He's got more confidence. You saw him going like this. He was like, yeah. He was like, yeah.
I'm gonna say, yeah, Duncan, because most of my friends.
Shooting. It's not.
I'm excited for him.
The man's putting the ball on the floor. He's dribbling, taking in the cup over the big man. I didn't see this from him. He's laying it up and in. I didn't see layups from him ever. I thought he was just a straight shooter, and he
is a shooter.
He's getting
in college. He was a shooter.
Duncan Robinson was great energy. And Kyle Lowry, that veteran presence off the bench, I think they're so
Champion.
that veteran presence, knowing what the moment is to make those shots. He's probably their best facilitator as a guard on the team, and he's just doing damage. Miami made their first 6 field goals in that fourth quarter off the bench. They were rolling. And then they ended up winning the game because down the stretch, Jimmy Butler was just better than everyone on Denver. He was making all those tough shots. He had a corner 3. He had some nice mid-range pull-ups off screens. He had and one. Jimmy Butler closed the deal. It wasn't really a great game from Jimmy Butler, but he showed up when it mattered because Miami as a team played really well. And to me, I said before the series in my preview that the Heat want to win this series, that Jimmy Butler has to be Milwaukee Jimmy Butler, dropping 30 to 35 points a game. He didn't need to last night. It was a great team effort. You got 21 from Bam, 23 from Vincent, 14 from Strus, 10 from Robinson, and 9 from Lowry, like you said. You're basically getting like 5 of your teammates almost had double figures, 2 of your other teammates over 20. If they can get this type of production again, they don't need 30 from Butler. But I do think sooner or later, though, I don't know if you're feeling like this, sooner or later, we need like a 35, 40-point game from Jimmy Butler. Sooner or later. I think there's
I agree.
I think there's going to be a game that calls upon it. I think game 1 kind of did, but he didn't show up there. I think he had like 14 points.
Jimmy was going off last night. And I was going to say –
he was great in that fourth quarter. I think
I was going to say the Heat – the Miami Heat last night. The Miami Heat last night, they were just phenomenal. And my dad was saying, they're going to lose the next couple of games. No, it's going back for game 3.
305. It's in Miami.
Yeah, now. And the Miami Heat, they're tough to beat at home.
Because before you go into it, Denver, that high altitude, was undefeated, 9-0 in these playoffs.
And they have not lost a game. A little note.
They did it. They won in Denver. And now this team, with a win under their belt, they're going back
since
to
2016.
Miami,
the first time that the Heat have won a game in Denver since 2016, when the Heat had Wade Bosch on their it was Wade and Bosch on the roster in November 2016. Yeah. So actually, that was
Bosch was retired by then.
Yeah, I think it was 2016. I don't remember who's on that. It was Waiters and somebody else on the Heat roster, and Haslam's still there. But I think it was 2016.
Wade was in Chicago in 2017.
Yeah, and the Heat won their first game.
It was probably Waiters and Dragic, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was the first time they got a win in Denver since 2016 of November. And then, of course, now you're going back to the 305. It's going to be hard to beat the Heat at home. The only loss they've had was in game against Boston when White hit the game-winning layup. But still, this is now interesting. We only have 3 more days, or it's now Monday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 more days until game 3. Whoever wins this game changes the dynamic of the series because the Heat have 2 games at home, game 3 and game 4. Game 5.
I know that Boston was up. Boston last year won game 3 in the NBA Finals and still lost the series. But I think still more often than not, it's a great tell who's going to win the series. If it's tied 1-1, the winner of game 3, I like the winner of game 3 to win the series. It doesn't happen often. But I think the winner of game 3 has the best advantage to win that series. I like the pressure they can apply. If Miami
and it changes the dynamic of series.
If Miami can take game 3, because I still think, even being at home, I still think Denver might still be the Vegas favorite to win game 3, despite being on the road. So Miami will still be the underdog at home. They need this. And I don't know if I said it on the preview pod or on my TikTok live, but I said I said Miami's losing this series. I think Miami's going to lose. I think they're going to get swept or lose in 5 if they.
But we're wrong.
No, I said they're going to get swept or lose in 5 if they leave Denver down 0-2. I think they improve their chances to winning amazingly if they steal a game in Denver. They had to, or else the series is over. I think this series is over if they go down 0-2. But now they got 1. The confidence is up. They're going back home. Game 3 is going to be must-watch TV. A lot's going to change.
Yeah, so, because
what did you say?
This is going to be. I already said this earlier before, but the dynamic of the NBA Finals is there's a lot of results. I always tell people there's a lot of different results of the NBA Finals because we know how the NBA Finals are. When a team goes up, tied up a series, the home team usually wins game 3. But then usually we've seen in 2015 where I've seen the story before in the narrative. In 2015, Cleveland was up 2 games to 1, and then they lost games 4, 5, and 6. And then same thing with
Boston did last year too.
Yeah, Boston, same thing. In that climactic game of game 4 or 5, I believe, in Friday last year, Curry went off. And then after game 4, game 5, still at home, the Celtics would lose. Game 6, they wouldn't trail. Boston would not trail in that series, and Golden State would win. I got to look at the rest of the form because I got the format right here on the app, right here on the NBA Game Time app, which I've already sponsored it multiple times in your show before. But if you want to keep up to date, this is for all the people that are watching. Get the NBA Game Time app. It has notifications on there from all the scores and everything for the NBA Finals, and also NBA TV. They have post-game shows. But Game 4 will be Friday night. Game 5, Sunday. Game 6 and Game 7, if necessary. So those are two. What's up, man? But those are if necessary. I got to look at the rest of the schedule, but the rest of the schedule, same thing. Game 5 and Game 6 and Game 7 are if necessary. So still, this is going to be interesting to see because also we got to talk about Tyler Hero. We didn't talk about him in the show.
But so overall in this game, it seemed to work that when Miami went bigger, it's better for their team rebounding wise and taking away Aaron Gordon. Also, what I noticed, everyone's already talking about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it because it seems like I'm not the only one who noticed it. Making Jokic just a scorer seems to work. Now, I know how crazy it sounds, and I know how great of a scorer Jokic is, but making Jokic just a scorer seems like it works. You know, Nikola Jokic, in these playoffs when he has over 40, the Nuggets are 0-3. I literally saw Nikola Jokic lose a playoff game to Phoenix when he had 50. So it seems like when Jokic is a scorer only, it's actually a detriment to what the Nuggets want to do. When you take away Jokic's playmaking, buckets are kind of scarce for guys like Bruce Brown, KCP, MPJ, and even Jamal Murray. Even Murray, when Jokic isn't playmaking, where's Jamal Murray? And it's kind of like if Miami would just live with Jokic just scoring. Because if Jokic is scoring, his most dangerous asset is his playmaking because his playmaking gets everyone involved. Everyone's confident. Everyone's knocking down shots. Everyone's in rhythm when he's a playmaker. But if Jokic isn't getting 10 to 20 assists, KCP isn't in rhythm. MPJ's not in rhythm. Bruce Brown isn't in rhythm. Even Jamal Murray's not in rhythm. You'll live with Jokic being a scorer, and it's crazy saying that you'll live with someone dropping 40. We already went over the box score. It's kind of crazy too. As a Lakers fan, not a Lakers fan, but as a LeBron fan, it's kind of crazy to see. Like, man, if we would have had this Denver Nuggets team, the Lakers probably would have got more games. Like, where's Jokic's step back, fall away threes over his head? Where's
the Heat are covering him up? The Miami Heat, they're good. They have a great defensive team because in the practices. Yeah, practice the same thing.
They're jumping screens a lot better than the Lakers.
And they're pesky on defense. Let's not forget, Eric Spoelstra is a great head coach, and people have forgotten, even though I'm still – because people said, you're a fan of multiple teams. Well, here's another funny story you should know. I like the Miami Heat. I'm the Heat fan, even though when the big three left, when Wade, Boston, LeBron were gone, I still watch the Miami Heat play from a distance. And I've told people before, don't underestimate Eric Spoelstra because Coach Spo – he circles everybody. In practices, I've seen how Coach Spo is. In film sessions, Spo says, for Jokic, we got to wall up a perimeter around him. Same thing with Murray. So when you have Bam or Kevin Love on them, when you have Bam out there and you have Kevin Love on Aaron Gordon, a lot of times Kevin Love's out there playing tight defense like he did in Cleveland. He's also in the paint drawing charges. That's one thing that these people don't know about Kevin. Kevin has that wall body where someone goes like this in the paint. Love just stands there.
Drawing charges too.
Yeah, and in Cleveland, that's one thing Cavalier fans miss about Kevin Love, his offensive fouls. And in Toronto, same thing. They miss Kyle beating the brick wall when they go in the hole. Kyle's right here. They barrel into him, and Kyle's on his back like this.
Real quick, speaking of Kevin Love, real quick, probably the most consequential move in the game today, especially if they win the series, is the Cavs letting go of Kevin Love. We might look back after the end of the season, especially if the Heat win the series, about how that's probably the most consequential move of the entire
dumbest decision.
Not
Dumbest decision
Kyrie
that
going to
Cavalier
Dallas,
fans.
not all these big time trades. Kevin Love getting waived might be the biggest move of the entire year because it's benefited Miami. It has.
Yeah.
Kevin Love's
And for
outlet
Cleveland Cavalier,
passes, charges, timely defense.
his 3-point shooting, he's a good big man.
He hit 2 threes. Kevin Love's knocking out.
Yeah.
He was
And
plus
people
18
forget
last
about,
night. So when
people always.
when he was in the game, it was a positive. But the plus minuses, which is funny, looking at the box score, like I said earlier, how much the bench like completely sold the game. The plus minuses from the starters are like double the plus minuses of the bench. The bench is all in the minus, while the starters are like plus like 15 to 20 because the starters absolutely dominated the Nuggets, but as soon as the bench went in, the Nuggets completely dominated the Heat.
People always want to give Kevin Love crap because I keep saying to Cavalier fans, this is the dumbest decision you guys made. He's a great player, and he's also a great bench player coming off the bench. And what do you guys do? You decide to not play him. Like when we were on the show talking about the All-Star break and about the buyout market, I told Cavalier fans, this is the dumbest decision you guys made.
We were really
don't play him
talking
anymore.
about it earlier in the season. Like this might bite Cleveland. Like before the playoffs started, we were talking about the Cavs like lack of bench. And we were talking about like, yo, this Kevin Love move might actually hurt the Cavs season.
And it did in the New York series. You didn't have any backup bigs. And against the New York Knicks, I've always told Cavalier fans this. Against New York, Julius Randle killed you, Mitchell Robinson killed you, and so did Jalen Brunson. And the second half of the season, they didn't have any backup power forwards. The only forwards they had were Lamar Stevens and Dean Wade. Neither one of them did anything. Wade laid an egg, and Stevens laid an egg. So if I was
great against the Knicks for Miami.
Yeah, and Love out there was, and there's one fan who's a Cavs fan. He was sitting at home like, man, I wish we could have kept him. We could have. I told him, well, he's on our team, and if the Heat do win the championship, that's 2 rings in a row. For the Cavaliers, they should know when you let go of a key player like LeBron James, you're not getting another championship or another ring. Because I remember telling, like, I've always had the strikes with Cavalier fans saying, strike 1. You get rid of Kyrie Irving for Isaiah Thomas. Strike 2, you let LeBron walk away because you guys didn't build a team around him. And so believe you me, there's no strike 3 because Cavalier fans know how like hard I am on some of them. I told them, believe you me, there's no strike 3. Like, unless they got rid of Kevin Love, that's when strike 3 happens. And my friend's laughing, and I'm not really laughing when he said that. Like, I should probably be quiet. You probably should. And he's like, well, they'll do better next season. No, they won't. At their power forward position, they have a lot of groundwork to do. Cleveland has a lot of groundwork from bench unit to who's going to be coming back next year. But still, this series with Kevin Love will be game 3 will be beneficial. Hopefully, Coach Spo keeps starting Kevin Love and having Martin come off the bench.
I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, because Martin should come off the bench.
Caleb Martin, too, I genuinely believe sold his soul to beat Boston because if you look at the splits he had against Boston, the confidence he had against Boston, it's clear that Caleb Martin does not know what he's doing on the basketball court. I don't know if
and let's not forget he's feeling sick too.
People aren't setting him up properly because he had a big 3 in the fourth quarter. I'm not trying to take anything away from Caleb Martin. Maybe it's coming off the bench is affecting him, but the clear confidence and the shot decision and really just confidence, knowing what he wants to do on the basketball floor, knowing his role. His role was so clear to him in Boston, being one of the primary scorers, hitting step-back threes. But when you're watching Caleb Martin in this series, he's getting dominated defensively. And offensively, he has absolutely no idea what he wants to do. He's not taking the shots that in Boston, he had all the confidence in the world to take step-back threes. He won't take a 3. He won't take these type of shots. Maybe the 1 for 7 hurt his confidence even more, but it didn't affect Strus. It just seems like he just doesn't know what he's doing on the court. Like he did against Boston, maybe he's coming back down to earth. Maybe Caleb Martin's actually starting to play. Like
he's feeling sick. That's why he didn't start in game 3. He didn't start in the game because in the game last night he was feeling a little bit under the weather.
I wouldn't go to it. I wouldn't go back to it. I would not go back to Caleb Martin. I'm starting Kevin Love. I'm starting.
Yeah, have him come off the bench.
Speaking of starting for game 3, this is the last thing about the Heat, and then I have one more note to close out the show. You wanted to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Tyler Hero. So there's reports that Tyler Hero could come back for game 3 or probably game 4. You playing Tyler
I don't think
Hero?
He should. I wouldn't play him at all because if you haven't noticed, even though I'm kind of like I know about the NBA injuries because I'm kind of like the injury expert and stuff, but he's coming off a broken hand in game 1 against the Milwaukee series. So I don't think the Heat should play him or risk him going out there because you don't want him to re-aggravate the same injury, even though he doesn't have a cast on or anything, or he doesn't have pins on his hand. But I wouldn't want to play. I would not play him at all because it's not a smart idea to play basketball coming off a broken hand, because one little play where someone smacks you when you're shooting the ball, or if you dive for the ball, you're going to re-aggravate the hand again.
I think I'd activate Tyler Hero. I'd say he's active, but I wouldn't just give him big playing time. I wouldn't start Tyler Hero. I wouldn't give him 15, 20 minutes. I wouldn't do that. Maybe
I would limit him.
Maybe in a possession. I said this in my pregame show. I was like, bro. Well, I was expecting the Heat to go down like 2-1, 3-0 maybe. And I was like, okay, yeah, if they're down 2-1, 3-0, then I'd play Tyler Hero as many minutes as possible because you might as well. This is like a dude who won 6th man of the year last year. He's a great scorer. He kind of helped you get to this spot in the play-in. But
we've seen the situation before. We've seen when players get hurt.
Defensively, he's not good. Like, I fear that if he does get on the court, if with like Jamal Murray's just going to screen hunt, switch hunt Tyler Hero and just try to go to work and abuse Tyler Hero. You don't want that. And how good of a shooter offensively is Tyler Hero going to be back off an injury? Is he going to be as good as he was before the injury? Probably not. How effective is Tyler Hero going to be? We know defensively he's not going to do anything. But what the offense, there's some question marks. I might play him 5 to 10 minutes in spots. I would activate him and only use him when you're desperate. But other than that, like, I wouldn't mess up the flow. Tyler Strus is knocking down shots. Gabe Vincent's knocking down shots. Kyle Lowry's playing well. Like, the guys who are playing right now have gotten you to this position. Without Tyler Hero, I wouldn't insert Tyler Hero unless very needed to. I'd activate him, say he's able to play, but I wouldn't play him unless he is very needed. I just keep running the same unit and try to recap the same success. If it's game 5 and you're down 3-1 and they lost both games at home, yeah, I'd say, okay, I got to play Tyler Hero as many minutes as possible. But if not, I'm not playing Tyler Hero.
And one thing you should know about that injury is with the Heat, I've said this before about the NBA Finals. When someone is coming off an injury, we all know about the story of in 2019 when the Warriors played the Raptors and the Raptors were up 3-1, the Kevin Durant situation. Everybody knows it. Like, some people know that you freak out when a guy comes back from the injuries. No, I don't. Like, well, when Kevin Durant came back, you were kind of like, when you saw him doing like the little dance in the locker room, you were looking nervous and you were biting your nails. And then during the first couple of minutes, he hits a couple of shots, and then we see him do the little crossover and he injures his foot. And I'm like, oh crap, he's out. He's hurting. And then we saw KD limping. That's when I'm talking to my buddy saying he should not have been playing in the game tonight. It's like, well, he looked okay. No, he did not look right now. He probably tore his Achilles. And then he did, because someone said, how did you know his Achilles? I showed certain video clips of when players tear their Achilles. Like, I showed the DeMarcus Cousins clip, the Brandon Jennings clip, the Kobe Bryant clip where Kobe was like, when he made that little move and he's grabbing his leg. And then my friend's like, well, what about your friend's clip? Didn't he tear his Achilles in a track meet? Yeah, let's show that clip. We showed the clip of him running and he falls down, feeling like somebody was behind him, and he's just doing like a little limp. He's like, well, Kevin Durant, we can show that clip. And we showed the KD ones. Like, that's the Achilles in the Rocket series, not the calf. Yeah. So for Tyler Hero's situation, I would play him in game 3, even though I don't think he should play. But if he does come back, only play him on a minute restriction in game 3. Game 4, minute restriction. Game 5, if he's cleared, if he's going to be healthy enough, play him a full game. Game 6 or game 7, same thing. If he wants to get surgery in the offseason, give him the hand surgery. If he wins the championship ring, the champ wants to, he won the ring. He has to get another surgery on his hand. Give the champ his surgery, because I hope he plays, because everybody's excited to see him come back in Miami.
All right, so we're done talking about the NBA Finals. We had a great discussion. I want to say this about a certain player to get this off my chest, because I think the conversations around him are crazy. This is going to be to wrap up the show. So I've been on Twitter, and I posted a TikTok video, a clip of the show when we were talking about like Jamal Murray and where he would line in the top point guards list, especially if he wins a championship. And a lot of people were disrespecting Trae Young in the comment sections. Like, people are like, why do you have Trae Young above? Like, people were saying Trae Young ? Trae's overrated. Jamal Murray clears Trae Young, all this stuff. Then I did a TikTok live the next day with my top 10 point guards list in the NBA. Or even like my lists where like I just do the top 20 players overall, and everyone's always pointing out how I have Trae Young too high. even when I had Trae Young 6 on my top 10 point guards list, people were saying that Trae Young's too high. And I'm like, the conversations around Trae Young have been absolutely disrespectful, like recently. Like these Trae Young conversations recently have been absolutely disrespectful.
Yeah, like yesterday, someone said he's too short and stuff.
I'm old enough to remember how high everyone was on him, saying he was like one of the next best point guards when he was winning games in the Eastern Conference Finals. And now after 2 straight first-round exits, he's talked about like he's on the lower half of the top 10 point guards list. He's talked about like, oh, hold on, head's itchy. Like it's absolutely crazy to me. Like this is a guy who's 26-10, consistently leading his team as the man to the postseason every year, and he's winning games. He's not winning series, but he's winning games off some tough opponents. Won 2 games off Boston, and he's dropping 30 to 40 points, and he's in conversations with Jalen Brunson, when last year or 2 years ago, he's in conversations as a top 5 point guard. And now he's in conversations with Jamal Murray when he should be in conversations with Ja and SGA. I'm not saying but the conversation shift, the narrative, like the narrative shift on Trae Young, the view on Trae Young is absolutely shifted in the last year. And it's crazy to me because I still think he's one of the better point guards in the NBA. A guy who would take you to the playoffs. A guy like 26-10. I get the inefficiency stuff. I get the size stuff. But even
people don't respect Trae Young. I mean,
he's still one of the best point guards in the NBA based off his production. And the recency bias against Trae Young has been absolutely disgusting.
I mean, people don't respect Trae Young for a lot of reasons. And my dad even said something funny about Trae Young. He's like, he's a liability. He's too short. Like, he can shoot the ball. Like, in basketball, I've always mentioned this. People saying if someone's shorter than you, if a guy is 5'10" or 5'11", they can shoot from 3 really well. Don't ever underestimate those people. Even though they can't really dunk, they can shoot. And being a shooter is a good thing. For another thing about Trae is people know that in the New York series, people remember heckling him. People were giving it to him. People were like, in New York, the Knicks fans do not like Trae Young, so they heckle him, they boo him. He's like, hold this L.
It makes no
and then
sense.
They spit on him too. Like they even spit on him. Like I said, yeah, that was so cool. No, it wasn't cool because you guys were animals. And then he told one Knicks fan, hold this L. And then he just he runs the corner, it's a 3, and he goes up to the fan and says, yeah. I was like, yeah. I mean, Trae is a good player. I mean, he's a good point guard, and he's a good shooter. I mean, him and Dame both.
He's not in the Steph Curry conversation, but he should be in that middle-level conversation with guys like Ja Morant, SGA. Not in the lower half conversation with Jalen Brunson and Jamal Murray. Sorry, no.
But Ja's situation, we already know, even if we want to mention Ja Morant, we know about Ja Morant and what's going to happen. That's another thing we forgot to mention on the show is Adam Silver had the little NBA press conference, and they talked about Ja Morant. The bigger story is we talked about this story way before on Mother's Day in Game 7. For people that are watching and everybody who has not been watching for the Ja Morant situation, they are not going to make an announcement until after the NBA Finals. A little bit of some Dash history, even though we know Carmelo Anthony retired already, but here's a little bit of some timelines of the Ja Morant events. On March the 4th, Ja was with a gun. March 8th, there were no charges. He was away from the team for at least 4 games. March 13th, he was in a counseling program. March 15th, he had a meeting with the commissioner, Adam Silver, and was suspended for 8 games. On May the 14th, he was suspended by the team and team activities after a recent video appeared with him showing a gun. So after all this stuff, there will be an announcement made after the NBA Finals are over with. We don't know what the severity of the situation will be. We know it's going to be something serious. We know it's going to be a serious thing.
If you're holding it back from the NBA Finals, you know it's serious. And I heard a lot of execs, a lot of NBA people say it's going to be at least half the year. I feel like it's got to be that, because if you're going to hold that because if you're pushing it after the NBA Finals, that means
we know it's going to be something big.
I mean, Adam Silver believes that this could be distracting from the NBA Finals.
Because if you do that,
and the only way this could be distracting from the NBA Finals is if this is some like groundbreaking, like huge breaking news, lengthy suspension. If this was like an 6-game suspension, literally you would say that they would have already given that suspension already. But the fact that they said the NBA Finals makes me believe that this could be something that like 40 games.
Or it could be like the entire year. I mean, we've already seen.
I don't think half a year, but I'm saying like 41 games, half the season.
And people don't know this, but there have been situations during the NBA Finals where things can be distracting. For instance, when we had the O.J. Simpson situation where O.J. was in that Bronco, and during the NBA Finals, when they were reporting the NBA Finals, they were going live to the chase where O.J. Simpson was in the car. But same thing. We don't want that to happen. But for the situations, we've seen suspensions be lengthy. We've known how the league does not joke around. We know how the league is. But for some people that are watching, one thing you should know about is nobody's been suspended for the remainder of the NBA season. Nobody's ever had that suspension except for Ron Artest or Metta World Peace. He's had the suspension.
Did.
Yeah.
Gilbert Arenas did.
Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton did. But for Meta's situation, we know about Gilbert Arenas and the gun locker room thing. But for Metta World Peace, he had the longer suspension where he was suspended from November until next year because of that Pacer and Piston brawl that happened where he was involved in the stand. So for Gilbert Arenas' situation, we know how Gilbert Arenas was. We all know the stories and the details of what happened with Arenas being suspended. But for Ja, we don't think it's going to be a year suspension. It might be 41 games, and it might be until probably the second half of the season. Or it might be 26 games or 30 games or 40. It might be 30 games going into December possibly because the season starts in October. But still, we don't know how long we don't know what the initial announcement will be. It'll probably be during the NBA draft. They might make the announcement during the draft. They might make it during the free agency thing or summer league because we're already at the halfway point of the finals. So the season's almost over. I mean, the NBA season's halfway over. The playoffs are done. Now are the finals. We only have a few more games left. So we have to wait and see. Game 3. Don't forget, Game 3 on ABC at 8:30 on AB. It'll be Game 3 Wednesday. On ABC Wednesday. NBA Countdown will be at 8 o'clock. For all you people, the game will not be early. If you don't know, Sunday is the exception because it's early. People have got to. It's the dinner hour. People eat dinner usually when the game happens. People come home from work. People don't work on Sunday, but people are at the Memorial Tournament too. That's another thing I'm forgetting about. They're the golf tournament, so that's why people were getting in late and stuff. So still, Game 3 Wednesday night, ABC at 8:30.
Well. That's it for the Some Casual Takes podcast, episode 41. For the next episode, I'm getting LASIK eye surgery on Friday, so I won't have a Friday show. But I won't be available. Most likely have a Thursday show. I'm going to shoot for a Thursday show, which means I'll be talking about Game 3 on Thursday. I'll shoot for a Thursday show. If there's no show on Thursday, that means I went live on TikTok. So follow the Some Casual Takes TikTok account because if there's no show on Thursday, that means I'm going live on Wednesday night to talk about the game, which also means to make sure that you don't miss my live because I don't upload my lives. I might start doing that in the future, but I don't upload my TikTok lives to YouTube. I can download them, which means follow the TikTok right now and turn on like a notification.
Thursday.
If you go live on Wednesday and don't just wait for a Thursday show because I got to see how I am. I got to see the rules for my surgery. I got to make sure I'm all right. And then
save it for Wednesday. You gotta let me know what's happening on Wednesday because I might be available on Wednesday and Thursday.
I'll hit you. If I do a show, I'll tell you on Thursday. It'll probably be Thursday at like 12:30.
Okay, good because I got enough. I got Wednesday. I got something to take care of before the game. Game three. I got to do the reporting stuff for the matchups, and then Thursday it's relaxation for me and kind of stuff like that. But I'll be there Thursday at 12:30. And for all the people that I sent the link to that watch the show, Thursday, if you got nothing to do on Thursday afternoon, 12:30, guys, tune in.
We'll try to talk about Game 3. Hopefully more people from TikTok will join because I have some topics I want to talk about as well. But until then, thank you for tuning in to the 41st episode of the Some Casual Takes podcast. See you most.
Heck yeah, man.